formación decían que This is the title page of the book we've selected to illustrate the racialization of print formats. It is titled Ojibway. As the Newberry Card Catalog suggests, it may well be the first book printed in Canada's Indian Territories in 1858 on Manitoulin Island, Ontario. The Ojibway shares a great deal with the other texts our fellow panelists have considered. At just 17 centimeters in height, it is a modest duodecimo format printed on a small hand press by local people under the direction of Jesuit missionary Father Chonet. Its paper, while not poor quality, shows evidence of its ad hoc construction, with several gatherings in the middle of the book made up of blue paper not consistent with the title page. Finally, it appears to be bound with non-traditional stab stitches, a loose in and out and in, and a knotting together approach. It is quite possible that Ojibway women with sewing experience, not of books, but of textiles, participated in its construction. Ojibway literacy scholar and language teacher Alan Corbiere, who is himself a resident of a Manitoulin Island reserve, offers us some local insight into the origins and meanings of this small format devotional text.
I've always wondered about some of the handmadeness of this book. And
yeah, I know in the correspondence that I have read, a different priest had said that the brother Geniso has been busying himself making a wooden printing press, and he's carved each of the letters. Yeah.
And this is a hand press, from what you could tell?
From what I recall in the correspondence, that was what they had said as well.
In his research on 19th century Manitoulin Island literacy, Alan has also encountered evidence of the presence of Ojibway language printed books on the island even before Father Chonet's arrival. When the priest showed his prospective congregation his ability to fix the often coverless and tattered tracts that had been given them by previous missionaries, all the Anishinaabe who needed to have their books repaired brought them to the priest for mending. Father Chonet used local materials, wire, thin planks of cedar, to rebind his congregation's worn-out pamphlets. Given the condition of the devotional texts on the island, it seems that Father Chonet appealed to his superiors for permission to produce a locally made hymnal and prayer book. Here, Alan Corbiere appears with Father Jacques Monet, historian of the Jesuit archives of Montreal, alongside a manuscript hymnal that seems to have served the Catholic missionaries in the interim between the repair of those old pamphlets and the fresh printing of Ojibway. Its large format indicates that this was a communal book that the congregation used together, perhaps placed in front of the chapel for all to see. Sometimes overlooked in discussions of book format, but very important in vernacular language texts like these, is the orthography used. This manuscript hymnal, which predates Ojibway, is written in the same orthography as the printed book. Alan takes us through some of its identifying features.
You know, there's a number of different orthographies, and I always just call this one the French-inspired orthography, not Roman Catholic orthography. So this would be different than Methodist and Anglican.
What distinguishes an Episcopal orthography from a Catholic orthography at this time?
At this time, usually the letter E in a short form, and you see at the second bottom of the line there.
Yeah.
You see that DJ?
Yes.
That also is a giveaway. And then on the top line of the second page, that
yes.
PCH. So that word that I pointed out on the second line from the bottom there.
That's a long word.
Yeah, and it actually begins at the end of the third with the KE. The word is Kitchitwa Wen Dogazajik. And that those that are, we would say now holy, but those that are considered greatly or esteemed. So that's Ketchetwa, and then see that first A, that A, I know just because I know this word. Yeah, the Episcopals would write that as AU or AH or AW. So it depends who's writing it. They would have varying spellings to indicate that long vowel sound.
One of the most interesting discoveries in Alan's research is the fact that the literacy the missionaries inculcated in the Anishinaabe parishioners on Manitoulin Island came to be used for very different purposes than Christian worship.
They wrote to the Minister of Indian Affairs here in Canada, and they wrote to the Governor General in Ojibway in this orthography. The people used it, literacy and the book, for their own ends.
Nor was the effect of these books limited to the 19th century. In Allen's lifetime, Ojibway language devotional books like Ojibway have continued to enliven Manitoulin Island Anishinaabe communities.
What happened every Lent, we would have to, they would do the Stations of the Cross. And my mom used to say to us, okay, well, you got to go to the Stations of the Cross. And one was on Wednesday night in Ojibway, and the other was on Friday night in English. And so she says, which one do you want to go to? So all of us kids chose the Ojibway one on Wednesday night. And part of it was so we could take off on Friday night. There was just a fellow named Jim Panamick here who would read the Stations of the Cross in Ojibway. And we would go around the church at each of the station, and he would read the book. So it was, even in my lifetime, I guess the point of why I was saying that is it was still practiced here when I was a kid.